Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a step-by-step playbook for building genuine professional trust and lasting human connections. Look, if you've ever felt like your networking efforts are just kind of falling flat, or you're just not connecting with the right people, you are absolutely in the right place. We're pulling from top experts to show you exactly how to cultivate a reputation that precedes you in the best way possible. Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to define your intentional brand, shift the focus to them, prove your honest flaws, build the trust network, and finally, protect your reputation.
All right, before we really get into the mechanics, we've got to stop and ask a pretty tough question. Does your professional audience actually trust you? Or, do they just know your name? There's a massive difference between visibility and actual credibility, and today we're entirely focused on the latter.
So let's look at this baseline concept of a brand. And honestly, forget about logos or slick websites for a second. Brand strategist Caleb Ralston defines a brand as the deliberate, consistent associations you create in people's minds over time. It's like Nike, right? They wanted to be synonymous with basketball greatness, so they consistently paired themselves with Michael Jordan. That intentional, repetitive pairing, that's what builds a rock-solid brand.
Okay, moving into step 1, define your intentional brand. You've essentially got two paths here. Path 1, that's the forgettable brand. You take random actions, post random stuff, and people have literally no idea what you actually do. But path 2 is the intentional brand. This is where you grab the wheel and actively control the specific associations people make when your name comes up. This deliberate approach is exactly what gets people to actually trust you.
To build that intentional brand, Caleb Ralston's framework breaks things down into 3 super practical steps. First up, the catalyst. What gap or opportunity are you seeing that everyone else is missing? Second, the core truth. What's your unique conviction that separates you from the pack? And third, the proof. How are your daily actions consistently reinforcing that identity? I mean, if you nail these 3, you don't just get an audience, you get absolute loyalty.
All right, on to step 2, shift focus to them.
Now we're getting into the actual mechanics of networking. Having an intentional game plan for other people is absolutely essential. When you walk into a room or even a digital space, you really need to know exactly what you want to achieve, but you've got to enter with a positive, giving frame of mind.
Because look, the biggest trap in human relations is the selfish approach, constantly wondering what can I get out of this. But as Dale Carnegie taught us, everyone is infinitely more interested in their own affairs than they are in yours. The empathetic approach, really understanding their viewpoint, getting invested in their causes, and giving advice or a referral way before you ever ask for a favor, it creates this powerful spirit of reciprocity. People naturally want to return a favor to someone who helps them out first.
So how do you develop that instant rapport? Well, both sales expert Jordan Belford and author Robert Greene hit the nail on the head here. Rapport is not built by rambling about your weekend right out of the gate. It's built by proving you're a trustworthy expert who can genuinely help them. You bypass the small talk by appealing directly to their self-interest. Show them exactly how you solve their specific problems, and trust me, you'll have their full, undivided attention.
Which brings us to step 3, prove your honest flaws.
This one's a bit counterintuitive, but psychologist Robert Cialdini highlights this brilliant judo technique, voluntarily mentioning a small shortcoming to establish massive credibility. Think about classic slogans like, "Avis, we're number 2, but we try harder." By establishing a baseline of truthfulness about a minor drawback, you instantly become so much more believable when you emphasize the major advantages of your ideas.
So how does this actually translate to how you present yourself? Basically, you've got to avoid the robot persona. Think about it. If you only ever share your massive, flawless wins, people naturally get a bit skeptical, right? Life just isn't that perfect. But by sharing your professional losses and proactively addressing objections, you prove you're honest. It drastically lowers their natural defenses because it shows there's an actual, real human being behind the professional mask. Moving right along to step 4, build the trust network. Psychologist Daniel Goleman separates our professional networks into 3 distinct categories: communications, expertise, and trust. And there's a really fascinating reality here. Being a highly skilled node in the expertise network absolutely does not automatically place you in the trust network. You could literally be the smartest technical expert in the room, but if you lack empathy, no one's going to trust you with their doubts or vulnerabilities. To truly succeed, you got to be connected across all 3. And to firmly anchor yourself in that trust network, you have to operate with unwavering emotional integrity. Goleman contrasts this with being a social chameleon, someone who just scans the room and molds their values to whatever people want to hear. While that might score you a quick win or a fast sale, it leaves you totally anchorless over time. Deep professional trust requires staying true to your core values, even if it means you occasionally have to challenge the room.
Finally, we arrive at step 5. Protect your professional reputation. Author Robert Greene offers a pretty powerful warning about just how fragile reputation really is. He notes that once you've built this solid foundation of trust, you have to protect it fiercely. But the key is how you protect it. A single emotional, angry, or petty reaction to criticism can instantly make you look insecure. When your reputation is challenged, staying calm and taking the high road commands incredible respect.
Protecting your trust also means actively managing what you're not associated with. You have to rigorously curate your collaborations. If you partner with sketchy or untrustworthy people, your audience will inherently associate you with them. So ignore the petty noise, stay calm under pressure, and above all, never sacrifice your long-term credibility for a short-term cash grab. Remember, it is always infinitely harder to rebuild trust than it is to just maintain it in the first place. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want you to take a hard look at your own professional playbook. Think about the meetings you take, the content you share, the people you help out, and ask yourself this final, defining question. Are your actions just building a transaction, or are they building lasting trust? The true power in human relations belongs to those who play the long game. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I hope this step-by-step guide helps you rethink how you connect in your career moving forward.